Hi, my name is Thierry Gibraltar, and in today's video we're going to talk about the XF90mmf2. So first of all, thank you to the 400 of you now that are subscribed to the channel. We were 300 2 weeks ago, we are 400 now, so thank you so much for that. As you can see, I'm trying to increase the production of this channel, and I will keep trying to improve this channel as we grow together. So yeah, let me know what you think about these slides, if you would change the colors. I'm still working on it, so I'm looking for feedbacks right now. So let me know what you think about it in the comments. So in today's video, I would like to change a bit how I do my review. So as you may know, the 90mm f2 from Fuji is primarily a portrait lens, right? So what I would like to do today, before going to the technical part of the review, is to take you with me to a portrait session so that you can have some sample pictures and to see how I work with the lens. So let's go back right after for the technical part. And welcome back. We are now in Asakusa with the Sarina, and we're gonna try the 90mm f2. She's a bit shy, so alright. Okay. Guess we'll just go. So we first made our way to Sensoji in Asakusa, where I wanted to test this lens. So the way I work with this lens is that I try to have quite wide or really long areas where I can work with this lens, take a portrait of my model while isolating her and showing part of the background. So as you can see here, so I'm about like 3 to 5 meters away from Sarina right now, and I'm trying to take part of this entrance of the Asakusa temple and trying to isolate her while showing part of the background. So the 90mm f2 is not the best lens if you don't have a huge amount of space to take environmental portrait, right? But it excels at isolating your portrait from your background with great image quality and amazing sharpness. So here we are moving to a sunset shot, and as you can see, the lens does really well autofocusing on Sarina and not losing her, and handling also the lens flares. The autofocus works really well for small objects in videos. As you can see here, I'm trying to take some small items in the shops and focus on the different part of it, and also focus on some objects in the crowd, and it works perfectly. Now I'm back to a really long area, and this is the kind of area where you want to work with your subject if you want to use this lens and show your background. So as you can see, with the compression you can feel that she's really relatively close to this, and especially on this picture the compression allows you to have a really nice angle of view with the temple, with the area where you throw the coins, and also the background with the big gate of the temple. Alright, we are back in my apartment right now, so I hope that you enjoyed this little portrait session. Let me know in the comments if in the future now you would like to have this more practical part to the review. So now that we are back in the apartment, let's go to the technical detail of the lens. So first let's talk about the size and weight. So the 90mm f2 weighs approximately 540 grams with a length of 105mm x 75mm. So it's not a small lens by any mean. As you can see right here, I'm holding it in my hand. So it's not a small lens, but in the past 3 hours where I shot, I did not feel like it was heavy by any mean. I just took it, shot with it, and it went great. Did not feel like, oh, it was a burden on my wrist or on my shoulders when I had my strap. If you're looking for a lens
with great image quality, the 90mm f2 is basically made for you. It has great color rendering, great contrast. It is crazy sharp, and I would still call it the sharpest lens in the Fujifilm lens lineup for the X mount system, obviously. I have so far never tested a lens that was as sharp as the 90mm f2. So if you're looking for a lens with great image quality, I would definitely advise this lens. When it comes to autofocus, on the autofocus side, I think that this lens has one of the best autofocus from the Fujifilm lens lineup. It has linear motors, which explain partly why this lens is a bit on the bulkier side. But those linear motors allow you to have a punchy autofocus that will acquire focus and stay on target. In fact, in today's session, I don't think I missed that many shots and I was purely relying on autofocus because it was working perfectly. There is no issue at all, and paired with the X-T4 and its excellent autofocus, I have no problem shooting portraits outside using this particular lens, and I can count on its autofocus. When it comes to the focal length, so this is a 90mm, meaning that it is not as close as the 56 or the 50mm provided by Fujifilm, right? So you have to take that into consideration when you work with this lens. This lens might not work as good as the two lenses that I mentioned before in a confined space. For example, in an apartment, in a studio, you might not have the greatest result with this because you need some space to actually be able to frame your model or your subject properly. So before you buy this lens, make sure that you are aware of its limitation due to its focal length, which is not really a limitation, but it's a way to work with it. And yeah, make sure that it is right for you. This lens doesn't have OIS. So I believe that the reason why Fujifilm did not include OIS in this lens is basically because, well, it's already on the bulkier side, and including OIS in a lens like this would increase its size. I would not say drastically, because I don't know exactly what kind of trade-off they can make in this lens design, but I'm sure it would increase its size, right? While the Fujifilm X system it's a crop sensor, one of its goals is to reduce the size of your equipment, right? So if you come up with a huge portrait lens, I think it's kind of counterindicative. So I imagine that would be the reason why Fujifilm is trying to limit the size of this lens by not including OIS. So it would be great to have OIS, especially for situations like in low light, or sometimes because of its focal length, it might help you to get a shot with a lower shutter speed. But it hasn't come to me as a limitation when I use this lens. Overall, I did not feel like it was something that was drastically missing and that was limiting in my use case. It is weather resistant, so this is the important point in my opinion, because you might want, when you purchase a portrait lens, you might want to take portraits in the dust or in the rain or in some humid places, etc., depending on your creative choices, right? So having the possibility to use this lens, unlike the 56mm f1.2, right, is a great advantage and a great argument to get this lens over the 56. So this lens is about $1,000. So for $1,000, you have, as I said before, a lens that's optically perfect, that has great autofocus, that has linear motors, right? So silent, usable for videos too, is weather resistant, relatively compact, amazing image quality, right? So in my opinion, this is definitely worth its price. For $1,000, again, I'm not saying that it's cheap by any means, it's quite an expensive lens, but for $1,000, the image quality that you get is definitely worth it. You get a great image quality, a lens that's usable in different weathers, and an autofocus that will help you get all your shots. So yes, so overall I can only recommend this lens, but I would also recommend that you strongly think about your use case and when you want to take portrait with this lens. Because if you are taking portraits in a studio where you don't have much space, this might not be the lens for you. It's way better to have a lot of space when you use this lens so that you can feel comfortable, not too packed in your shots. And yeah, you will have a lot of fun with it. So I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comment if you have any other questions. And if you enjoyed the video, consider to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.